Welcome to the Pure Prison Podcast, a Society First production. My name is Shai Hillman. Before we begin, we want to give an introduction of our goals, and that is to provide a platform that identifies both the problem and the solutions to the criminal justice system. The purpose behind Pure Prison Podcast is to give a voice not only to those who have been impacted by the system, but also to those who are positively impacting the system. Society First wants to ensure that all guests feel free to express their thoughts and beliefs. With that being said, not all views and beliefs of those interviewed are necessarily the views of Society First. With that, we hope that we will inspire you to get involved, for it's only together that we will make a difference. Welcome back to Pure Prison, everybody. I am so happy to have you in the studio tonight. We have a very interesting guest. His name is Barry Diamond, and he is founder of something that I'm going to let him introduce. I can't wait for everybody to meet him. So we're going to go ahead and bring him in. Hi, Barry. How are you tonight?
Hi, good. How's everybody?
Absolutely great. Now, I just first off, let me thank you for coming on. I'm so excited to have you here tonight. I can't even tell you. And one of the main reasons is I was introduced to you by a friend in Mississippi, and I was reading your story, and I found out that one day you were literally sitting, eating with mayors and people of that nature in your city. And then the next day you were doing the complete opposite. So go ahead and share that with us if you don't mind.
Okay, yeah. If you don't mind, I'm going to read one line from a news article that actually was published. And it says, Barry Diamond, one day in June 2010, I was having lunch with mayors and state representatives. And the next day, lunch with murderers, rapists, child molesters, and bank robbers. Yeah, it was quite a shock. Not my normal day.
Right. I mean, whoa. I think you have an incredible story because I will say just go ahead and tell us a little bit more before I get into that. Tell us what transpired and what happened. We don't need to know anything, besides that, except for just the transition of your life.
It was a nonviolent white criminal crime. It was basically had to do with investments and money. And so I was the top gun. I was the founder of the company, and so all roads lead to the boss. And so I became totally responsible for it, and I understand. And so that's how I wound up being a businessman for 30 years, and then committing a crime, and then was sentenced to 6 years. And 6 years of probation, and went to jail. And the first day, it was a rude awakening. It's as bad as everyone thinks. Yeah, you read about it and you think about it and you say, "Nah, it's got to be made." No, it's bad.
It is bad. And now, correct me, Connecticut, right?
That's correct, in Connecticut.
Okay, so it's bad up there too. So it's not just Florida.
No, it's not Florida. In fact, it's not even just the United States. It's all over the world.
I agree. I do agree. Now, you left. You did your time.
Yeah.
And you got out.
Yes.
While you were inside, though, the businessman was still going on inside of your head.
Yes, absolutely.
And the process began for you inside of finding out and speaking to people about incarceration and going back out into society.
Yeah. Yeah, so, it was very interesting. One of the things that I was wondering about people that were there how would they cope? I'm educated. I come from a nice family. I had a few dollars. I was a businessman. And so I was pretty sure that I would be okay when I came out. And I was just wondering, how are people going to cope with it? And what are their problems? And what are the things that they have to do? So one of the questions I asked early on, just happened to be in conversation, I said to one of the inmates, how long before you come out and don't have a job or have any money before you would commit a crime? That was an interesting question. I was just curious. And the answer I got was about 3 months. If I don't have money in my pocket, I'm going to commit a crime. And so I developed this thought in my head. What they're saying is to society is, I have to buy diapers too. And it makes me think that, as I learned later, they were brothers and sisters, mothers and fathers. They were uncles and aunts, and they were people that were going to come back to a family and had children, and they had to support their family. And so when it came to a decision of, my baby is not going to eat and my baby's not going to have diapers, I'm going to commit a crime. I need money. And it made me think how many of us who never went to jail would say the same thing. I mean, would do terrible things to support their family. And so there's no difference between somebody who's in jail or somebody who never went to jail when it comes to the survival method. And that's what I learned. It was very interesting.
Now, was that your epiphany moment? Did you have do you recollect an epiphany moment that was just, this is what I'm going to do, and start planning?
Well, there was an epiphany moment that came before I decided what to do, and I'd like to talk about it because it's really interesting.
Oh, please.
My wife had visited me, and not a lot of people get visitors, unfortunately. And so one of the people in the cell had said to me, gee, what did they say? And I said, my wife said to me, did you learn anything today? So he looked me straight in the eye and said, how would you like to learn how to make a bomb?
Oh.
And what the reason why this was an epiphany moment is because it made me realize that there are bad people in there. There are people that don't know what to do and how to do anything, and their mind is steeped in things that were criminal. Yet there were nice people, some of them well educated, some of them pleasant, some of them polite. It was just amazing. And at that moment, right after that, it made me think, is there something that I can do to help somebody coming out of jail to get out of that mindset, so that the only thing they would think of is how to make a bomb? How could I do something destructive? It didn't come to his mind to say, yeah, let me teach you something that I know. Yeah, I know how to make a bomb, so that's what I'm going to tell you.
Whoa.
It was amazing. And that's when the next couple of months, I started to talk to more people and started to realize there's a lot of very nice people in jail. There are people who committed a crime as people. I would invite some of them and many of them into my home to have dinner with me, which was interesting because my background never really had anybody who were criminals. And so the thought of, oh, if you're a criminal, you're bad. And here I was in the middle of it, and I was them. And it made me think, maybe there's a lot of I am thems there. Maybe there's a lot of people that have circumstances that also cause them to do something wrong, but then they realized they were serving their time and they wanted to come out and just be regular old people again.
Yeah. Just live.
Just come out and be normal.
So you formulated this reentry program, and it is P.R.I.D.E. You call it P.R.I.D.E. The P.R.I.D.E. reentry, and then you do the F.L.O.W workshops. Now, this was a society first. One of our goals with many is to try to let society know that reentry begins inside, not the moment that they're released. And things like this, what you're going to explain can be so life changing. Please tell us more about P.R.I.D.E and the F.L.O.W workshops that you have.
Okay, P.R.I.D.E represents people re-entering into doing entrepreneurship. That's the first letter of each one spells P.R.I.D.E. There's really two parts to the P.R.I.D.E program. One is the regular classroom pre-COVID, where we were approved in 5 prisons. We had classrooms all over 6 cities, and we're doing it that way. Once COVID came in, we then changed and went to a virtual program. But the program itself is unique in that it is the only entrepreneurship program in the nation that actually teaches people how to learn first prior to teaching them information. So it's 60% data and 40% life lessons. What we actually do is we bring the person coming from prison up to being at least a benchmark of being able to calm down, to be able to recognize where they are, realize that there are things to overcome, learn to schedule themselves. It's a deer in a headlight. Not 99%, 100% of every person that comes out of jail is struck by the sudden impact of decision making. We've realized, and being part of it, I thought of it, but I didn't realize when I was in it. But later I recognized that you're told when to go to the bathroom, when to go to the cell, when to go to eat, when to go into the rec area, what clothes to wear, 0 decision making. When to go to the bathroom, when to go to the cell, when to go to eat, when to go into the rec area, what clothes to wear, 0 decision making. Well, I want everyone in society to take a 10 by 9 box. I want them to live inside of it 23 hours a day, and they have no decision making of any kind. Danger is everywhere, so you have to keep watching your back and everyone that's around you. I want you to do that for a couple of years. And then I want you to come out and the first day be normal and ready to learn anything and ready for life. You got to be kidding. They can't do it, and neither can you. And so that's the problem. And being inside actually gave me the experience of seeing it, feeling it. But the other part of me, the intellectual and the mental part of me, was able to look at it and say, what is the problem with this? What can be done about it? Every other program in the United States, and even in foreign countries, anything that they have immediately starts teaching the student material. And what they don't understand is they are not ready for material learning. They're not ready for learning. They're ready for calming down. So we have 2 sessions, 2 hours apiece. That's 4 hours. And all we're doing is talking to people about who were you before you incarcerated? What did you want to be when you grew up? Did you want to be a policeman, a fireman, a baseball player? Tell me. Tell me about your family.
You know what?
We're asking them to relate to us who the people were prior to you being in prison.
Oh my gosh. And I say it all the time, and you'll hear a lot of advocates say it. We as an ex-incarcerated person, we are not our crime.
That's correct. People are not the crime. They committed a crime.
We committed a crime, but we are not our crime. And leading into one of the questions that I wanted to ask you while you were researching this, because I know you researched a lot, not only inside but outside.
Yeah.
What was the number one reason for recidivism that you found?
Well, there actually were two major things that brought people back. The first one is easy. Many of them are coming back because of violation of probation or parole. Large amount, which means they did something to annoy their person that's in charge of them, enough so that they have the option of simply sending you back to jail. They can either say, let's get over it or around it, or this is how you helped, or in most cases, they're sent back to jail. But that's a very large one. The other one is people are not prepared once they come out of jail to be ready to do anything, and there are large restrictions. You are constantly being watched. People are asking you to come in for meetings. There are restrictions that you're not allowed to do. So for the first couple of months, you are out, but you're so heavily supervised that you don't get a chance to really look for jobs, to acclimate back. Many of them go into the halfway houses. Many. And the problem with that is that when you're in a halfway house, the first thing they tell you, you have 90 days to get a job or you go back to jail. Whoa! I just walked in the room. And you're telling me that I had to, okay, so here's how you do that. Okay, so I used to be a painter and I'm looking for a job. And so nobody in their right mind would hire me because I have a record. You want me to go to somebody's house and paint. So I can't get a job. So what do I do? Most of them wind up going to like McDonald's and there's nothing wrong with that, but they make enough to almost survive.
Almost.
Yeah, which means they can't go back to support family. They can't do anything. They need, as an example, the person coming out has a transportation problem. And they're not, almost none of them are given free transportation or cell phones or money or anything. You come out with your sweats and a box, and you're dropped off at a parole office, and you know nobody, and you have to walk in and tell them your story, and they'll tell you where to go, what to do, and everything. The first restriction that I had was I had to be home like at 8:00 at night. 8:00 at night. I mean, I have dinner and go to sleep. And you had to call in, and I had a bracelet on, and I said to myself, gee, I wonder what a person that doesn't do nonviolent white collar crime gets. He must get something over his head and shackles. But it's terrible. So given that kind of demeanor, given that kind of thought process, here I am, a person that just came out, and I'm given no help. By the way, I lost my insurance while I was in, so I had to get insurance. Well, it wasn't the right time to get into insurance because it wasn't the end of the year; it was the middle of the year, so I had no insurance. Well, I needed medication. I needed stuff for normal hay fever and other things, and there's no way that I could get it. Because you needed a doctor to get a prescription. I don't have a doctor. I got so bad that I went into a first aid place, and
Like
said,
an urgent care.
yeah, like an urgent care. And I said, I just came out of jail. I have no medicine. And they said, you probably don't know, but go. There are agencies. Well, I said, what
What
agencies?
agencies?
Don't you know? I said, no. I was given my sweats, a box, and dropped off. I had no idea of where to go, what to do, phone number, zero. Yeah, this is very serious. And my thought was, here I am, reasonably intelligent, and I can't figure out what the heck are people going to do who really need help.
Yeah.
And that's really it. And by the way, you mentioned something very important, and that was the kind of help I do should not wait until you come out. It's almost too late. You have to get to people 6 months to a year prior to being released,
Yes.
where you get them to start thinking, making decisions, making notes, starting to think about coming out. If you're starting when the day you come out, it's already too late.
And I totally agree. I totally agree. And I watched that with several people too, because you know the amount of people that come and go in your life while you're there. Tell us about the website that you run, and how can people connect to this?
Reentrysurvivors.com, all one word, reentrysurvivors.com
It's on the
is the
bottom.
website. All the information is on there with phone numbers and people's names, where you can contact us. Anybody that is interested in getting into the program, anybody that's interested in finding out how to do anything. Even if they just come out, I get calls. I'm in Connecticut and I don't know where to get housing, food. I know where all the pantries are. I know where all the places are, and I belong to organizations that if I make a phone call, they will take care of them. But that's only if somebody is lucky enough to know to get to me. That's the poor part. So if you know that I'm here, you can get anything you need. If you don't know, which most people don't, I mean, I'm the best kept secret in
I'm
Connecticut.
So yes, and I can't, and this is one of the, it's why I'm sharing. It's incredible. And again, thank you for being one of the many, I have to say now, who aren't turning their back, who haven't forgotten, who saw a problem and you found a solution. And that is a lot about what Society First, the organization that Pure Prison is the media network for.
Yep.
That is what it's about. Where are the solutions? Well, Reentry Survivors is one. Now, share with us about the flow. I like that. The workshops. What's going on there? Love workshops.
Okay. Yeah, the F.L.O.W workshop is financial literacy. One of the things that we discovered is that most people, even if they go into business for themselves, they do not know about money flow and cash flow and how to do checking accounts and how to watch your bills and make sure they're paid, credit cards. Those things are very, very important. And so that's the other missing link in entrepreneurship programs. There's a few out there that are pretty decent. They teach them how to go into business. Now, the problem is that what they do is they tell you what to do, but not how to do it or who to do it with. So what we do is we teach you what to do, how to do it, and give you the names and the phone numbers. This is not rocket science. This is something, if a person would just think about what do you need in order to get contact. By the way, I wanted to mention, as far as sharing, you mentioned about sharing.
Oh, yes.
We've discovered that there are other countries and other areas that really have problems. We are now, but within the next couple of weeks, going to be sending one of our key trainers to Kenya in Africa, and we're starting a P.R.I.D.E program.
No way.
We also, by the end of the year, are going to have somebody in Nigeria doing it, and Uganda.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Well, Pure Prism
we
definitely wants to be a part of that. We need to see them.
We've discovered, that's when I said earlier, we discovered that this is a universal world problem.
Really?
And so we have contacts within the government that have government advocacy programs. One of them has a prison chaplain and a warden that's running it. The other one has a pastor. So the government approves these programs and allow them in the prison. They allow them to do whatever they want. But we discovered what they're missing. And it came from a conversation. We said, okay, once you get them out, what do? And they say they become homeless. So we said, how would you like to train those people that you get out how to go into business? Because even the people in Kenya, I'm not hiring them. They have the same problem as we do. They don't want them.
That's
and
crazy.
So, yeah, so we are going to Africa, and we have people. We're sending people, but also we're going to be doing the training and training the trainers so that people will remain there, and they will be running it, and we'll be having virtual stuff. So, yeah, we're not kidding around.
I love it. I absolutely love the work you're doing. And again, it's vital. Reentry and restoration go hand in hand. You give someone the tools and they are able to restore themselves, get their dignity back, get their lives back.
Absolutely.
And then that better person is going to be able to re-enter society. So all of this helps us have a better society overall, all of our communities. This is wonderful. I love this. Love it.
Look, I live in a community, and it just so happens that my son is a chiropractor and his business is in my community. My other son is in my community, and he runs a consulting company with computers. And not far away is my son that owns a gas station. So one day I said to myself, you know what you're doing, Barry? You're helping your own children. I don't want something to happen in the community for my children. You know, if we all think that way, we all get the message, which is we're all people.
Amen.
You just have to realize it. There's problems everywhere, and it's not just in little old Connecticut.
Well, one of my questions was going to be, if you had something to say to society, what would that be?
Give a second chance to anybody who is qualified. If they're not qualified, throw them out of the room. That's okay. Allow them to be hired because they're as qualified as the other person. If they're not, don't give them the job. And a lot of people say, oh, no, you should get. No, I don't want people hired coming out of prison because they're coming out, only if they're qualified.
Now, Vera, I have a question.
Yep.
What do you see? What's going to be happening in the next 5 years? I know you told us about your outreach that you're going to be going into the other countries. Anything else? Anything in the States with the prisons?
Well, we're actually getting connected to a group called Kairos. Kairos is a large church organization that does the gospel, but also works heavily with reentry, because we can through Kairos we can get into any prison in the country, and so and they love our program.
I love it. I love it.
By the way, if you'd like to know some interesting things that we're doing. How about I was just asked to be an advisor to a company that is looking to make the first reentry credit union in the country. FDIC approved.
No way.
Yep. I'm introducing them to people that can see if we can get this done.
I need the interview.
The missing thing is money. So if these people had some money, because they can't go to banks, nobody wants to loan them money. So if there were a credit union that would train them as well as give them freebies that credit union does, but also access to capital.
Wow.
So there is a company that is being started. By the way, if you want to get lots of information, Synetra is involved.
Okay.
Okay.
And I'll be putting.
But this is something that we're doing for the future, because what we want to do is bring money to the ball game.
Nice.
So educate them and support them with money.
Wow. That's you don't hear that very often.
Nope. Nope. What we do is we look for what's missing. We look for what don't they have that would do it.
You're a problem solver. You have solutions, Barry. I love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Well, the company that I owned the company for 30 years, and it was a business to business consulting company. And what we did for a living was I was a professional problem solver. That's what we did for a living. And our motto was the harder, the better.
Well, push on harder, Barry, because you are doing incredible things. And we Pure Prison can't wait. We want to do a follow-up focal point for the Kenya that you're going to be doing.
Sure.
And that is just beautiful, Barry. I really appreciate you stopping by. Again, thank you so much for being one that did not forget. You didn't forget, and you're sharing the message, and I really appreciate it. I can't wait to share your message with others.
You can't believe how much we appreciate that you're looking in to make sure that the public sees this.
Oh,
thank you.
You're so welcome. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Folks, that was Barry Diamond. Please, on the bottom, I'm going to go ahead and put it up again. It was running is www.reentrysurvivors.com. And that is one word. Please keep in touch. There's a contact information on there where you can reach out to them if you have any questions. Have your family members. They're out. They're about to be out. Maybe they're in work release. Have them start looking this up and see if they can get involved. Let's get it on board in Florida, you guys. All right. Have a great one. Again, it's peace or pain. Every day it's your decision. Choose wisely, guys. Have a great one.